Hey everyone, I'm Pladdy and welcome to a new episode of Rosenburg. This episode is a special one. When I was brainstorming on this episode, I was thinking about what I wanted the first high school of Rosenburg to look like. That same weekend I was thinking about it, I was actually spending a weekend in Maastricht. Maastricht is the capital of one of the Dutch provinces, or like the states that we have in the Netherlands, and it has a beautiful old city center, and there are some spots where the old city wall still pokes through on the narrow pedestrian streets. It is also home to a pretty large university that I think has more non-Dutch students than it has Dutch ones. Maastricht is in the Netherlands, but is barely half an hour drive from both the Belgian and the German border, so it's a place where people from all these countries tend to come together and study there. And there's this one park that has a couple of university buildings and is situated against one of the city walls. I really enjoyed this area when I was walking through it. I liked the way it looked and the open space felt so inviting, and I wanted to build something similar in city skylines. I needed to get the extra landscaping mods by Bloody Penguin anyways to get a water source in the Trumpet interchange, so I figured I would put it to good use in this episode and build a little creek next to the main road with a path and some park details. Of course, I am adding a football pitch here as well and a library for the teenagers to study. And let me detail this area some more. Adding these amenities is only going to increase the residential demand, so I will build out this lower area of the city and I will build some more houses around the high school as well. I am looking to add similar development as on the other side of the main road. I am not particularly being inventive with this area. We are trying to maintain this city feel around the high school as well. Everything seems to be pretty flat down here. I am making the deliberate choice to grab this lower road. As you can see, this road wraps all around the outside of the center village, and I like the idea of having a long continuous loop throughout town, as a sort of smaller main road which mainly the locals use. While I let the area behind the high school zone in, I'm going to add some pedestrian paths and zone the rest as well. I wanted to make this open space feel more special, so I selected a regular park and I will be landscaping this area to make it feel like a place to visit. And look at that, the residential area is zoning in super quickly. Not as much down here, but up here I think all these houses zoned almost instantly. So that was very necessary. We will wait until this all zones in a little bit more as well, and in the meantime we're going to be adding other sports facilities on the other side of the highway. So I was scouting this area to add a football park, and I was initially thinking that this would be a good spot down here. It is near the roundabout. It is also pretty close to this flower processing area, and I don't think it's super desirable to live here. So I think it makes a lot of sense to put another football pitch down here. So let's do that, and let's just go ahead and immediately detail the area as well. And this power line can just be deleted. And then we can add some more houses down here as well. And I think that this will be the end of the residential part right here. And this is the final result. So I added this football pitch and I added a little bit more landscaping around the area, and I just love the way this looks. I think the sports venues pack is genuinely one of the better additions to the game. I love adding areas in the city where you can imagine your citizens to meet and exercise or hang around a bit and just enjoy other people's company. These assets do exactly that, and they look really nice as well, so all around very good content creator pack in my opinion. These people are losing a bit of their gardens for a path behind their house, but we'll just pretend they got a really good offer for this little bit of land that they sold to the municipality. So while everything down here has already filled up nearly all the way, we still have a lot more residential demand, and we're about 700 people away from the next target. So let's try and get to that target this episode still. I'm gonna be zoning a couple more areas that we can still use, such as here. And I was doubting if I wanted to make this residential, but I think it fits, so let me just add it here. And I want to leave this to perhaps just be a park, so I won't be zoning anything here. But I think we can go a little bit closer to the industrial area and add a little bit more residential spaces there. Here we do have some terrain, so we can build out this area a little bit more. There are some terrain challenges, but I think that's fine. We'll just leave a little bit more space between these row of houses so it doesn't look super odd. So I'm just going to bring it all the way up here. And I'm looking at, let's take away this. And I'm looking at the outer part of the circle, and I think that maybe 2 or let's even do 3. I think that 3 blocks between these houses is perfectly fine. And I'm going to zone it like this, so we can add a path. And this way we add some green in between the houses as well. And I really like this eastern cottonwood, so I am just putting them on here. And while we are getting pretty close to the industrial area, I think we can just create a path here and zone this area right here. And then this will just be a tree buffer. And let's actually just do that right now. Let's make a tree buffer. And I kind of like this patch of trees and mosses, so let's just copy that. And I'll add some on the other side of the road as well. And this helps this area feel a little bit more secluded from the industrial area. Like, it's fine to live here. You've got a very beautiful view, actually. I didn't realize that, you would have a clear view of the church. That is amazing. And, there is a little bit of industrial stuff going on, but it's a little bit better with this little forest in between the houses and the industrial area. It just gives a little degree of separation. And of course, let's actually also use this as an opportunity to create a little cycle place through the forest, and I will be deleting the mosses, of course. But why not create a little exercise area? Oh, and just as I put in this cycle path, I am going to destroy it, just because I don't necessarily want to forget that we will just continue building here. And I will delete some mosses, of course, or I will move them rather. There is still a ton of residential demand, so I am adding some more housing over here and jazzing it up with a path and some landscaping. I'm building a fence for protection, and of course I'm adding in a lot more landscaping. I was building the area behind the high school, and when I wanted to take some cinematics of it, I realized I hadn't hit the record button, so I don't have any footage of the rest of the area. So let me take you through it now, and I'll explain some of my thought process behind it. So I believe we left off with this block of houses, and I extended it all the way over here, as well as adding some houses on this road and extending the forest with the walking path as well. This road initially curved into the industrial area, and I figured if we were going to build out this far, it might make more sense to straighten up this road and use it as an extra entry point into the city. And up here I just made sure to connect the industrial road, and here I connected another industrial road as well, so there's basically like two, or if you count this one as well, there's three entries into the industrial roads. And it also opened up a little bit more land here to potentially put some more industrial buildings when necessary. I noticed our elementary school availability was in the red, so I ended up adding a elementary school in here as well, with of course a little playground, some paths connecting everything, and I added some commercial houses here as well. I like the idea of leaving this a little bit more open. I initially built the path here anyway, and I figured it would be fun to just kind of leave this as a sort of common park behind everyone's houses, and I will be adding some extra assets there to also make it look a little bit more like a park. I really like the area we've built here. I really like this forest that we built between the industrial area and the residential area. For houses this would be so undesirable to live, but because we turned it into a green space, we've actually ended up making it a pretty enjoyable place to walk around and enjoy some nature. So I'm really happy with that addition. And I think I also didn't show it in the video, but I added a little community pool here. I figured it fits quite well with the football pitch down here, and I added some parking, and of course I added a medical clinic. Thank you again for watching all the way through. I am super curious to hear how you feel about this build, so don't be shy and leave a comment down below. See you next time.